Everybody has an opinion.
No, I don't think so.
I employ that bloke for when gigs are going bad.
You look incredibly rock and roll.
How would you cook that?
Be more entertaining. I'm glad you like that. I just did a little bit of weed.
Whoa.
Well, hey.
Did you just do a little bit of wee?
Oh, I've got my poise, so it doesn't matter.
Poise, that's the nappies for older people.
No, not nappies. Poise is they've got Catherine Heigl, however the hell you say that, and a bunch of very nice celebrities who are all aging now and they're all advertising poise because, they're like, we lift and laugh and piss ourselves too. So
Yeah, great.
shout out to poise. I really like the charcoal ones. They're very good.
I think they should have a lot of billboards between Melbourne and Sydney.
Poise, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, do I stop at the next roadhouse or do we keep going?
Look, I have had two big-headed children. They're grown now, but their heads are still huge. And look, those poise liners, shout out to poise. I'm going to reach out. They hold a cup of piss. There's been times when I've been out drinking and I've had a big laugh and it's done me well.
Wow.
So probably a bit TMI, but if you are of the pissing yourself persuasion, poise of their live free range are really good.
Well, eventually when we do a podcast marathon,
That's it.
6 hours of This Week in Comedy, we're prepared.
What, like a LAN cafe for podcasts? Do you remember? I used to drop my brother off at those with my mum, and he'd lock in for 24 hours at a LAN cafe, which is just a bunch of Asians and then one white guy, which was my brother.
Playing computer games.
Gaming.
Nerd.
All night.
Okay, got
and
you.
there'd be snacks and stuff, and they'd do a lock-in. So
Right.
they'd lock in all night. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, LAN as in LAN, that would be connected to the internet
Yes.
when the internet was only given to cafes and they didn't serve coffee,
No.
but they called it a
didn't.
cafe.
Yeah, it was an internet cafe.
Weird. Well, welcome to episode 15.
15.
15 of This Week in Comedy. I'll let you take the first part.
Take the wheel. In the news. The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is fast approaching. Starts on the 27th of March, so not long now.
That is a week from today. Yes.
Jesus Christ, is it?
Amen.
Yep, it is.
Hey, so
Yeah.
8 days until Girls Just Want to Have Puns. First
Excellent.
show.
And dark comedy and the best of Hard Not Knocks.
That's it.
And many other great comedy shows.
That's it. Crown's got like Lewis Spears is at Crown Plaza this year.
Yep.
A lot of really good names. so.
Yeah, Julian O'Shea, he's great. And of course, the Business of Comedy Conference.
Yes, which is happening during the day on April 16, 17 and 18.
That is right, and some amazing lineups, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
We sure will.
This is the 40th year of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. 40 years.
You're so old.
About time for a midlife crisis, isn't it?
I think they had a few. In fact, later on when we talk about history, we can talk about that because the Melbourne International Comedy Festival has had quite a few midlife crises.
Sure.
Or crises.
The Chortle Awards.
Chortle. Now, chortle is a word that I never use, but it means a loud, gleeful laugh, a loud, gleeful. So I'm thinking high-pitched, gleeful, that combines a chuckle and a snort and a little bit of urine. No, I added that last part. A chuckle and a snort. So snort.
Snortish.
A chortle is snortish.
Oh,
All right.
well, they're the Chortle Awards.
There we go. England.
That's
UK.
right. Nick Mohammed and Sam Nicoresti
Yeah.
were both double winners at the Chortle Awards just last night.
Now, Nick Mohammed, I know from watching him in, what was that football show? Ted Lasso. He was the assistant coach.
Right.
That might have been too high a
I never
title.
watched it.
Never watched it?
And I've heard such good things.
Very, very proud supporter of his football team and to a point of incompetence. But his passion and his love overwhelmed Ted Lasso and hence,
Sure.
And then you see the growth, not only of the football team, but you see the growth of his character played by Nick Mohammed.
Well, that's super cool. It's on my list. Who has time to watch everything you're backdated on? But, the Chortle Awards, the ceremony, it was supported by Ticketmaster, took place at the Comedy Store in London, iconic location. Who were the hosts, Morry?
Now I don't know these people because I haven't been to the UK for about 25 years, and not that I would have known them back then either. But Ronnie,
I believe it was Ronnie Ancona.
that's right. I believe she's Scottish.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And I'm going to do my best here. Peter Serafinowicz.
Yeah.
And they were the hosts.
They were the hosts. So, the Chortle Awards, important, I think, that comedy gets recognised, and the Chortle is a great magazine / website that gives a lot of information. We should also add, by the way, because of that, the noise that the audience may hear, we're actually on a live set today. Yeah. I'm going to name drop Tim Whiting. Not that you may know this gentleman, but I worked with him back in 2017, 18 on a TV show called Is This Thing On?
The OG.
Yeah, and we're on his set at the moment. That's why you can hear some background noise of best boys and gaffers.
Yeah, I was about to say the gaffer just got murdered.
Is that what they do? I actually don't know what a gaffer does. Do they just get murdered?
I thought a gaffer was a sparky.
I think they put plastic tape down, don't they, and get.
Well, that's gaffer tape. I believe that's a tool of the trade, but I
believe
think that's
where
their
it's
only
from.
role.
Well, anyway, Tim Whiting is. I want to add, I might have helped his career just in case he hears this. He was the sound. Oh, sorry, he was the colorist. The colorist isn't a racist person that points out
Coloured people.
Coloured people. It is someone who looks at a colour of a show, makes sure there's consistency across the whole show, between cuts, between episodes, between everything, and also themes. So if it's got a World War II theme or a more of a bright, fun theme.
A great example of colour grading. The first time I noticed colour grading in film was The Matrix, when The Matrix came out, and the differentiation between, in The Matrix and it was it more blue, and then out of The Matrix was green, or one or the other?
It was a lot like that. They could have just shot one in Sydney and one in Melbourne.
Well, they just shot it all in Sydney, I thought.
They did, but if they wanted sort of that blue, dark, rainy scenes, they could have just Melbourne.
Sure.
Sorry, that was meant to be a joke. But anyway, back to Tim Whiting. He's moved on from a colorist when I knew him some years ago. What was it, about 8-9 years ago? And he's now a producer of Sushi Mango, produces their videos.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
he also looks unnervingly like Adam Scott.
The next time I see him, I'll have a look. Now, Adam Scott's from that movie where they go in an elevator in between two brains.
That Apple one, the TV show, which was so good. And Severance.
Yeah, I know him from Severance. Good. His lips go into a kind of he's got a very small mouth when he
has
talks.
a very tiny mouth. He has I know him more from all of the really filthy comedies. He used to be in that crew with like Will Ferrell and all of that, doing a lot of dumb humour. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So yes, we're on his set at the moment. That's why it's a little noisy in the background. It's good to be extras occasionally, isn't it?
Yeah, every now and then.
Yeah. Even if we are extras of two people playing the role of podcast hosts.
Sure.
In the back. Very meta.
A bit more history for you. Don't know if you can handle anymore, but Billy Crystal was born on March 14th, which is also Bradford Oak's birthday.
Wow.
I should mention.
Yep.
1948, so, a few years before. Billy Crystal became one of the most recognisable comedy figures in American entertainment, moving easily between stand-up, sitcoms, film and live hosting. He's best known for Soap, When Harry Met Sally,
I'll have what she's having.
Yep.
Princess Bride, and my favourite, voicing Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc.
Hello, Wazowski.
Yeah. Yeah, very unique voice, that's for sure.
Which there's been a lot of theories actually on social media recently referencing Monsters, Inc. and the whole Epstein files and issues at the moment.
Well, I do not know that. No.
Monsters, Inc., the whole premise was that monsters go into the human world and scare the children, and their fear, aka the adrenochrome, is what is stored. But then the resolution to that is they find out that laughter is much more powerful, so they start making the kids laugh instead of scaring them.
Wow.
Maybe if Ghislaine had given that a go.
Can you go a little bit deeper into that? So that is a chemical released as part of adrenaline,
So
is it?
yeah, so adrenochrome is a part of adrenaline when obviously you're in a situation where adrenaline is released, it floods your system.
Yep.
And allegedly it has amazing health benefits.
Yep.
And allegedly that's what a lot of Hollywood cabal people do, is consume the adrenochrome to stay young.
Oh, delicious!
Wow.
Allegedly.
Now, this hopefully this comes out the right way. The same applies to dog meat.
What?
Now, in some cultures, and I'm going to pick on Korea in this example because I do know from personal experience, they eat dog meat. And sadly, and I'm a dog owner, I love my dogs, they beat the dogs before they kill them.
Scooby-Doo.
For the same reason, to get that
To torture them, yep.
adrenochrome,
yeah.
a chrome into the bloodstream.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, I didn't know that, but that just adds a bit more legitimacy to my crazy theories then.
And if you've ever met a Korean, you know they're about 200 years old, so it might work.
Yeah, they don't. They
don't
always look
age.
good. Yeah, and they say it's all the rice lipids and I don't
And the
think
plastic
so.
surgery.
Sure. Well, I love that came from Billy Crystal. I'm sure he would have loved that. Jerry Lewis.
William Crystal, of course. William Edward Crystal. I believe that's the little fun fact.
Oh
about
yes,
him.
I did. I did put that down because I know you love a fake name.
Willie.
He's Willie. He's a William Edward Crystal.
Well, Billy and Willie, they're the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Jerry Lewis was born on March 16, 1926. Yikes.
Yep.
Jerry Lewis became one of the defining screen comics of the 1950s and 60s, known for his wild physicality and chaotic comedy style.
Yeah, wow. Dean Martin was the straight guy.
Yes.
And by straight, we mean it wasn't silly, wasn't
Yeah,
slapstick.
the serious
And-
guy.
And Jerry Lewis was the wow, wow, wow. He was kind of like the Three Stooges in one character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You knew Jerry Lewis?
Yep. Nutty Professor was where I think I first, which those movies are just such trash looking back. Oh, man.
But they sang though. See, if Hollywood actors could sing as well as Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, yeah.
A bit of scandal and controversy. So a bit of a look at some scandals and controversies in the history. Just specifically to the Melbourne International
Yeah,
Comedy
because
Festival.
I said it's 40 years.
That's it.
And it hasn't been untouched.
No.
Yeah, it hasn't had a perfect record.
No, 40 years is a long time. You've got to have some things along the way.
And the big one, I reckon, the Barry Humphries Award backlash, or Barry Humphries as a character himself, which was driven by the cancellation of the Barry Award.
That's right. And that was made, I think he made some comments about, was it transgender people? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, look, he kind of trivialized it a little bit.
Sure.
He may have used the words like it was a fad or a trend.
Right.
And also he did say that children being pushed into transitioning was, and I quote him at this point, a mistake.
Sure.
So I do want to mention that anyone who has a grandparent, the gentleman was 85 years old.
Yeah,
when he
that's
said
what I
this.
was going to say. It's a very, and I think people maybe expected a bit more because at the end of the day, this is an 80-year-old who makes his living out of being in drag. So I think people would have assumed he would have more progressive opinions.
Yep.
But quite frankly, I think the drag was not necessarily a respectful reclaiming thing. It was more of a caricature laughing at it thing if we want to get serious. I mean, I did my school project in grade 6 on Barry Humphries and Dame Edna.
Yep.
But yeah, that did happen.
You make Dame Edna look like a dude.
Yeah, and of course his generation and many, many generations before him, dressing up as a woman was part of school. You know, you were all boys school. You did theatre.
Absolutely. You go back to Shakespearean times
Absolutely.
and everything that you had to dress, the men were dressing as women.
But I guess the point here is that the Melbourne International Comedy Festival said, no, we're going to drop this. And arguably, Barry Humphries was one of our greatest comedians of all time, one of our greatest exports, certainly to the UK of all times. And it was a bit of a slap, particularly given it was near the end of his life, you know, the last few years. And some would argue that it was a mistake. Some would argue that it was the woke, and I'm inverted commas, going too far, and the cancel culture being employed irresponsibly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cancel culture's all, I agree with it, but I think there was a real peak in it.
Yes.
And now it's sort of tapered back out to a reasonable level where we're not so overly offended by some things. But quite frankly, there's no room for transphobic talk in this day and age, even if they are 85. So, I mean, he got dealt the consequences. Some people don't agree, some do.
Yeah, that's right. Now, that was the first one, although that was later. We're talking about 2019, so it wasn't way back.
I mean, it's pre-COVID, so.
That's right. But more recently, and the one that I got involved with
Do tell.
was Arj Barker and the breastfeeding mother controversy.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Now, I heard about this because I got a phone call from a couple of newspapers, including a radio station from New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
They must have Googled someone who knows about comedy, and my name came up.
Hey.
And I got a couple of quotes in, I think it was The Age and the ABC and some radio station in New Zealand, asking me what I thought about Arj Barker kicking out, and in quotation, kicking out a breastfeeding mother in his show.
And stay out of the Woolworth.
2024.
Well, it wasn't quite that simple at the end of the day. And I mean, I can speak on this as a breastfeeding mother, as a previously breastfeeding mother, I should say, not currently lactating. I breastfed my children I took my children when they were young, especially when they were little, of breastfeeding age, out to pubs and events and things like that because it was easy, portable. I didn't have to bring any bottles. However, the issue was not the breastfeeding. The issue was that the baby was quite fussy.
Yes.
And I have dealt with fussy babies in court in many situations, and you do, in my opinion, just need to remove yourself. I don't think that the baby has a right to be there. And unfortunately, as a parent, especially a parent of a young child, an infant, sometimes you've got to make sacrifices. So my ex-husband and I used to sort of take turns, taking the baby out and resting the baby or whatever. So I don't think Arj was in the wrong. I think he also sort of asked her to leave more than kicked her out. It was like, hey, do you want to take the baby outside? So in my opinion, perfect example of cancel culture getting a bit too extreme there.
And that's what I said on record with the newspapers and the radio station. I felt that had this happened in another form of performing arts like ballet or theatre or pompous theatre.
Yeah, something hoity-toity.
Hoity-toity. Then, of course, someone would have just tapped her on the shoulder gently and said, excuse me, ma'am, do you mind exiting to the wings or the side foyer?
And what people might not know is that in Victoria, breastfeeding is actually protected. So you cannot be asked to leave any public space for breastfeeding. It is illegal to do that. It is a publicly protected right to breastfeed your child wherever. So I was actually asked to stop breastfeeding my eldest daughter in court. I wasn't there for me, but I was there for another person's issue. And the police officer or whatever who stands there and waits for the judge to come out, and he said, oh, look, don't know if you should be doing that there. And I said, mate, you need to learn the law. You could get in big trouble for that. However, when a baby is fussing, I think that a baby should be removed. So
yeah, with the mother, not just on its own.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know.
Down a chute.
Cultural differences are crazy. Like in European countries, right? They put the babies out in the snow in prams to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Which is wild because here we just prefer a hot car outside a TAB.
That's right. Oh, funny. So that was number 2. That was Arj Barker. Then, of course, a bit sadder, death on opening night at the St Kilda Palais Theatre, the beautiful palais right next to the Luna Park, the Big Mouth.
Yeah, that wasn't long ago.
No, I think might have been last year even, wasn't it? A gentleman passed away. He was on the balcony.
Yep.
The Palais Theatre can take up to 2,900 or 2,900 people. I'm not sure if it was that busy that night or whatever. It was probably quite a lot of people. But they did stop the show, the whole show, which begs the question in show business, does the show must go on? Is that still relevant?
Not in this day and age where you've got public liability insurance and venue insurance and all of those things, absolutely not. So I actually believe they did continue on for a little bit before the show. It wasn't immediately stopped. Now, as a previous venue manager, my policy is always you immediately stop the show. You also don't put it on the comedian. Management or someone should go on stage or go on Voice of God and say, put the lights up immediately and say there's been an emergency, please follow your exits. That should have been done immediately.
Right.
The other thing I believe is that they did not have a defib.
Right.
They had the people, the ushers didn't have training in the defib that they had at the venue,
dear.
which is unfortunate and should be, I think, a compliance issue. Maybe.
Yeah, well.
Very sad.
Very sad.
It is going to happen. My partner works bartending at a bar. And they had a death not so long ago, and it was the same thing. She sort of, this older woman slumped over and was with family and stuff, but slumped over and then eventually just slid off the chair. And the same thing happened. The venue did not, in fact, they were way worse. They didn't stop the show. Ambulance were coming in while the show was still going.
What was the show?
It's I don't want to get too specific.
Like live music? Or?
Yeah, live music, tribute
right.
bands. So it's a really popular boomer sort of Gen X venue. It's all oldies.
Yep.
But yeah, really, really wild. And they did not even have a defib on.
In the last episode, we talked about Riff Raff and the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I played Riff Raff in Shanghai. I played Riff Raff and I sang for the first song of that show because it was a interactive theatre experience. It was in a warehouse. There was no seats. People were mingling around and the spotlight would follow the actor. But as soon as the spotlight was off me as Riff Raff, I then had to go out and sort out drunk Germans in character because they had run out of beer And they were a bit taller than me, and I'm 6'1". There was about 4 of them. So, and the whole time I'm thinking I'm about to get punched in the face as riffraff. I kept thinking to myself, the show must go on.
Show must go on.
Yeah.
Yes, no, there's been times I was a assistant stage manager when I left school, and there's been a few times actually where a actor's been injured or something and I've had to go out in my all blacks with my headset on and my prompt copy and just speak the words instead of singing them because I'm not an actor, unfortunately.
Well, there we go. Those are 3 of the scandals of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. We would love to hear from you.
Who, me?
That's right, you, the person at the gym right now listening to this or in the car, and tell us if you've heard of other scandals that we haven't heard of. And if you go to the website, thisweekincomedy.com.au, there is a little sidebar which you can press and record your own voice.
Yes. You can just leave a fake email address.
Yep.
So you can anonymously say whatever you want to us. I reckon it's time for a beer.
A beer. I have to tell you before let's drink the beer and then I'll tell you a story about the beer. It's very meta because it was a funny in the moment when I bought the beer.
Okay.
So it's
a 2-in-1.
2-in-1 episodes. But I did go down to Swords and the 2 lovely ladies, I need to get their names, 2 lovely ladies down there. And I thought to myself, this beer looks very stylish.
It does. It's a classy looking beer.
Looks like a white wine almost. It's like a Chardonnay or a...
It could be a spritzer or a really high end, like it almost looks like a CC and dry. I don't know why I'm thinking
something
that.
like that, isn't it? But it is a lager and it is, what is it called?
It is the Dortmund style lager.
Dortmund style lager.
Dortmund from the Yarra Valley.
Hargraves Hill.
Hargraves Hill. There we go.
Hargraves Hill. So thank you, Hargraves Hill, for maintaining the 375.
Yes, the 375.
4.2%.
Mastering fermentation. At the heart of the brewing process is fermentation. When the perfect combination of yeast, malt, hops, and temperature and time are mastered, a drinkable miracle happens, and it's right inside this can.
I love the fact that every time we've checked on a can and drank a beer, there's always a little story on the side.
I enjoy the little read. It's becoming it's becoming a little thing.
It's the fantails of alcohol, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to crack her open.
Now, it is a lager. It's very soft. Dortmund, whoever you were or are, or if you're a town or a city, not noticeably unlagery.
No.
It tastes great. Yeah.
It says it's a malt pilsner, and I do definitely taste the maltiness and the yeast.
Yeah. Yeah, the Pilsner, I think the first beer we ever had from Albert Lager, it's a bit like that, isn't it? And
that tastes like how I'd imagine like sourdough would taste as it's fermenting or something, like it does taste like a bready beer.
Right. I think had COVID taught everyone how to make beer, that would have been better than sourdough. Established in 2004. Wow, years ago. Wow.
Sounds like a Gen Z who works at McDonald's telling me when they were born.
Yeah, my son was born after that, so he would think that was a long time ago. But
well, that's very nice. I have. I took my youngest daughter in a couple of weeks ago to pick up one of the beers for the podcast, and she's got her eye on one, and I won't tell you which one it is. She just thinks the packaging is hilarious. So I might have to grab that one next week.
Well, that is a good segue for Funny in the Moment.
Hey, Funny in the Moment, beer edition.
Beer edition. So you said she liked the packaging. So I was down. I liked the packaging of this, and I was in Swords at South Melbourne. There were a couple, male and female, ahead of me. Both of them were wearing what I'd like to describe as 3 types of shower curtain. His shirt, very, very colourful. His trousers, equally as colourful, but not matching.
Okay.
And then he had a tote bag, and that was as equally as colourful as the other 2 pieces I just mentioned. She, I think, was wearing a one-piece skirt with a belt, but again, a dress that is, it was very, very colourful, incredibly colourful. And then they had bought or were about to pay for 6 cans, all independent of each other, because there's so many weird beers at this place. And each of the cans were very, very colourful.
Yep.
So I turned, and it's a very small little shop. So I kind of said to the 2 staff serving and these 2 colourful customers, wow, did you buy the beers to match your outfits? Crickets. I got nothing. And they grabbed them and they turned. I thought maybe they're deaf. Now, here's where it gets really meta. I turned to our favourite staff at Swords over in South Melbourne and I said, that's weird. In our podcast, we have a section called Funny in the Moment where I say random things to people I don't know, strangers, and then see what reaction I get. And then she said, one of the ladies said, well, it didn't work this time. And we all had a laugh. So in a way, Funny in the Moment worked by me telling the staff during Funny at the Moment that we do Funny in the Moment.
It's a funny in the momentception.
I guess you had to be there.
No, I like it. It's meta.
It is meta. It was very meta.
It's very meta. And I think
meta.
we're going to have to get I keep telling the girls they've got to make an Instagram or something, but I think the very least that one of us can do next time is find out their names.
Yeah, or we'll do that. Beer aside, I had I have to say I'm good friends with this man. If you are Gen X or Boomer, you would know this name. Anyone younger, maybe the millennials not so much, may not know him, but he is a character. This gentleman I did an interview with earlier today, and his name is Wilbur Wilde. Well, he's in his 70s. He might have just hit 70. He's been in the music industry, specifically jazz, for a long time. And you, the audience, will probably recognise him from Hey Hey It's Saturday, where he was a bit of a front man of the band with Red Simons, who played guitar, and would do jazz to Daryl's delight and play his saxophone. And Wilbur is a regular within the comedy circuit. And also I want to add that he's one of our guest speakers at the Business of Comedy conference coming up on this one on the 16th of April.
That's exciting. Is that a new edition?
A totally new edition.
Wow.
He's going to be there on the very first session, which is all about the economy of comedy and why the laughter economy matters. Now, he's been in the comedy industry for around 50 years.
Wow.
From a musical component, so supporting jazz, talking to the audience in between sets. Jazz is often talking to the audience during the set as well. Being on Hey Hey It's Saturday, traveling the world as a musician, and generally being a super funny guy. So I got to chat with him and we're able to cut it down to a reasonable amount because he did talk my head off. And he's going to be talking a little bit about, as you'll hear, the Business of Comedy conference and comedy in general.
Cool. Let's have a listen. Wilbur and Morry.
Wilbur Wilde, good morning.
Hiya, Morry Morgan. How you doing?
Good. Full word, full names. I like it. You've always been a Wilbur Wilde to me.
Yeah, well, not always to me, though. Wilbur Wilde didn't happen until 1975 when I joined Old 55. I went up to Sydney to study and ended up hearing an ad on the radio and joined up with these guys. And the lead singer, one of the main reasons I joined was that the lead singer, Frankie J. Holden, was hilarious, which speaks to what we're going to speak about today.
Right. So, so I know you as Wilbur Wilde. I also know that's not your real name, but should we let people just Google you to find out what your real name is?
It's no big secret. Nicholas Robert Aitken, 5th of the 10th, 1955 officer.
Yes.
It has to come out.
And that's what Wikipedia confirms. I can concur that is correct. So no secrets there. But I will just keep calling you Mr. Wilde or Wilbur. If there was a bus hurtling towards you and someone needed to get your attention, is it Wilbur or Nicholas?
Well, in some circles, I'm still known as Little Nicky, Phyllis's boy. Yeah,
okay.
6'5" on the wrong side of 120. Little Nicky, come on here.
Hey,
I answered to Nicky and Nicholas and things like that too. So
it's very
my family
mafioso.
and some friend. Yeah, well, hey, you know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
You know.
The door of humour and music just became how we know you today. The funny guy, the funny saxophonist.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'd laughed at stuff before I joined Old 55. So the humour is inherent to the family. If a bit of background there, my big brother and I remember fondly watching Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies in the afternoon Sundays when we were kids. Like he's 7 years my senior. And getting to the stage where we just, couldn't breathe. We're just crying, laughing at the antics of Jerry Lewis. And, that's which is still really funny today. you know.
Yes.
I'd listen to Monty Python, of course, and the people that I hung out with in Sydney, there were, there's a like-minded people. I've always said, or the advice that I've given to my children is, not that they've ever taken it. Well, they sort of, I've said, try and find the brightest, funniest, kindest people and surround yourself with them. I've been fortunate. Then Pinder and Evans put together an idea, must have been in the early 80s, for a television show.
Yep.
It was called Tonight.
Tonight, yes. Recall.
Right? And that became the 11th hour, and the 11th hour became Full Frontal and Fast Forward, or whichever came first. John Pinder, really, Roger was, he was a good partner for John, business partner. And, the Last Laugh had been really successful because people came to see, different acts. I'll tell you who else came out was the comic strip from England. For heaven's sake, Rick Mail, Ade Edmondson, Alexi Sale, Jennifer and Dawn were on stage at Le Joke, at the Last Laugh.
Yeah. And Le Joke, just for the reference, Le Joke was above the Last Laugh, wasn't it? That was the
right,
smaller room. How many people could you get
room
into the
back to the rafters? You'd have, 120 maybe.
Yeah, 120.
And,
okay.
And acts like Ostentatious in 1983.
Yep.
Australiana came out, written by Billy Birmingham.
Yep.
And performed by Ostentatious, who was, a huge star.
Some other names that people listening to this podcast might recall, Rod Quantock. He was there at the very beginning as well of the Melbourne Comedy Festival. He was someone you would, although he played more of a rubber chicken than he did a musical instrument, I believe.
Yeah, well, but Rod was like in the early days, he was there at the outset of all of this and really should be paid great homage because of it. He would get a group of 25 or 30 people and became a legend because he would walk them around like the Rod Quantock guided tour of Melbourne.
Yes.
And they'd just jump on a tram or they'd head into a restaurant or whatever it was, but a great improvisational comedian and a fine brain. And of course, you're coming off the back of Barry Humphries here too.
That's
so
right.
Melbourne has a great history. And then, the comedy festival that Pinder started had started firing up, and of course, it's one of the biggest festivals in the world now.
And 40 years this year, so the anniversary
40 years
this year. That's right. Which leads me, and you did mention Trevor Marmalade there, which is a good segue to my comment here about the reason one of the reasons I like to catch up with you over a coffee anyway, but one of the reasons I'm speaking to you in this context is both yourself and Trevor Marmalade on two separate sessions are at the Business of Comedy Conference. And now, Wilbur, you've got probably one of the most important sessions there's about, I think there's 14 sessions over the 3 days. Yours is all about why the laughter economy matters. Now, Trevor's talking on another session more about building a home for comedy, like a public-private partnership type model, but that's another conversation for another day. But you'll be on a panel with Nina Taylor MP. She's the Legislative Assembly member for Albert Park, that's in Victoria. Dr. Mark Gibson, who's a professor and is you mentioned Steve Izard, works with Steve Izard and he works on PhD projects. And one of those is Comedy Country. And Louise Marler, who's she's a doctorate as well, as is Mark, and on body language, and uses comedy within her keynote speech space. And she'll be our moderator for the breakfast, again, on why the laughter economy matters. Now, you've just name-dropped about 50 people in the last few minutes, and clearly those 50 people all had careers. They all developed projects. Some of them created Melbourne Comedy Festival itself. Others rooms that launched and hundreds of other people's careers. So I think you could probably talk for hours about why the laughter economy matters.
And I didn't even mention Hey Hey It's Saturday. So I was asked to become a principal cast member of Hey Hey It's Saturday in 1984. We were 9:30 till midnight. So there you go. There's connections and synchronicity and coincidences all along the way there that speak to the value that of the Melbourne comedy scene, and like a little bit of GST, that it's become an integral part. It's shaped the culture.
Absolutely.
There you go. Right.
Amazing. And the best news is a lot of these names you've mentioned, like Elliot Goblet, Jack Levi, are still around and still active. Jack Levi is a regular MC and host. And he'll be also, I want to add, a name drop again, he'll be at the Business of Comedy Conference, and he'll be on the same panel as Trevor Marmalade. Again, back to that, the goal of having that comedy home, maybe the last laugh. We need a new last laugh, essentially.
Well, I think it'd be great to have a home base so as to have a creative, an outlet for the creative outlet that is comedy.
That's right. And as you've just described, it's not just stand-up. It's not just one middle-aged white bloke on stage. I mean, there's a lot of – there's musical comedy, there's crazy double acts. You mentioned a dozen I had to Google to learn more about. We've lost a little bit of that, haven't we? We've lost that vaudeville slapstick. Yeah.
Glenn Robbins did stand-up. Mick Malloy did stand-up.
That's right.
All right? And that's why comedy is really important to the economy and your worship. That's where the defence rests.
There we go. Those name drops are amazing. And look, I'm a little bit younger than you, so I didn't recognise all of those. For our older listeners, I'm sure they would have gone down memory or walked down or trickled down memory lane. Amazing. And again, just want to emphasise, Tony Rickards, I see him regularly at events that are organised by Jack Levi, Elliot Goblet. He's a regular feature. Trevor Marmalade's still bopping around, and he'll be back up on stage, as I mentioned, with Jack Levi, Elliot Goblet, yourself. It's going to be amazing, talking about the economy of comedy, the laughter economy, and how important it is. And as I said at the beginning of this is one of the most important sessions for the entire 3 days, because it kickstarts and it reminds us, or Mark Gibson, who's on your panel, will be highlighting the numbers, the financial numbers that are involved in how big comedy is and has become. Yeah.
I look forward to just reminding people of just how important the laughter economy is. And I think you can do that by mentioning a few names, a couple of TV shows, and people that people still resonate with.
Yep.
And you kind of, in a way, haven't even scratched the surface. You can work into the Mavis Bramston show, into Kingswood Country, into In Melbourne Tonight with Graham Kennedy.
Yeah.
This is, television and theatre have just meant so much in laughs and, you need to be crass about it. Tourism dollars and, it's not crass, but you know what I mean. We're talking about a very precious commodity that shapes the culture of the country and makes money, and people can make a living at it and provide wonderful return to the viewing audience and the attendance in clubs and theatres.
Agreed.
And wherever.
Agreed. It's so important. And we're hoping to get a lot of government, state and federal, at the conference, and they go, yes, let's write a check and have a lot more comedy throughout the year. Oh, simple.
Yeah,
We've solved.
That's the spirit. Good on you, Morry.
We've solved all of the problems. The economy will be safe. I actually was speaking to a producer of a comedy TV producer just earlier today, and he said that he'd done some research and basically AI is going to destroy everything except for comedy, music, so you're lucky, and one other thing that was very important but I forgot. But those three things, comedy and music, were part of the three.
Can I put them all under my favourite banner? I have a vested interest in this. Live performance is something that AI can't do.
That's right.
In that respect, I think it's going to do us a big favour by reminding people, and we all hope the pendulum swings back. I default to optimism. remind people to get out and see live gigs, whether it is theatre, whether it's comedy,
Yep.
whether it's jazz, whether it's rock and roll. There's nothing like it. You can stay home and listen to a comedy CD and have a laugh.
Yep.
You can watch a tape of a TV show and have a laugh, but there's nothing like being in the room when something's happening and you're part of it. You're very much a part of it.
That's great. That's great. And again, if people are worried about their jobs in whatever they're in, accounting, finance, banking, look, come to this conference because honestly, the laughter economy may be the only economy left.
Yeah, and really, as we have done for decades, if not centuries, people in banking and accountants specifically, we can make a lot of fun of them when they come to the gig and have a good laugh at them.
That's it.
No, look, actually, in fairness, I'm led to believe that some accountants live very exciting lives.
Yes. Well, fantastic, Wilbur Wilde. Thank you, or Nicholas, Little Nick, as we've just learned from this exclusive. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to bump into you, I think, before the conference for a lunch or a coffee in South Melbourne ahead of the Business of Comedy Conference, April 16, 17 and 18.
Look forward to it, Moz, and I'll defer to your guidance on this. As we've just heard, I can bung on a little bit about it, but it comes from an enthusiasm that I will always retain until the day I drop for the live performance, for laughs. It's one of my mantras, if you will. I'm still in search of the truth, the joy, the characters, and the laughs.
Yes, well said. Wilbur Wilde, thank you very much.
Dig you at the gig, man.
The elephant in the room. Didn't want to bring it up at the start of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit played out, but I think we are near the end.
The end.
Friends. The
This
end
is
is
the end.
nigh. And of course, I'm referencing today. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of March, as we record this. Kyle Sandilands has been fired by ARN.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's happened. So he was given 14 days to remedy an alleged contract breach. Don't know what he was doing during those 14 days, having a cry, I guess. He has been fired effective immediately.
Yep.
He is going to be seeking legal action.
Right.
He claims that he did not breach contract. ARN says that he did. So I don't know what his end goal is, if he's going to just spend a couple of years and a couple of $100,000 or more fighting this thing and then be liable for everyone's legal costs. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But I'm waiting for the postman to deliver a letter.
Well, that's it.
We both might get the job.
ARN's got a bit of I think it's probably a big relief. I've been saying that from the beginning. I don't think it was a very smart deal, but who am I to judge? I'm not doing those big wig negotiations.
And just to remind the audience, we're talking a $200 million contract. That was $20 million for $10 million each.
Yep.
So it's 20 per per year over 10 years. $200 million.
So I think the contract was set to end in 2034, which is just wild. You can't.
Yeah, for radio in particular.
And he's not a healthy man. Hope he has a good long run, but can you really predict if someone's still going to be doing radio?
I've heard from a few radio hosts, particularly with the comedy radio hosts, no one leaves comedy. They all get fired. That is how you exit radio.
Well, we've seen it happen before. Hughesy, Kate and Dave, Nova 100 during the 2000s. Great show, sort of fell to shambles. End of an era and leaves a gaping chasm for Sydney market especially, but also Melbourne.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'd like to see a Melbourne comedy duo or hosts that dominate Sydney.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see a Prime Minister that's from Melbourne.
Do you know what? Although I don't know if he's from Melbourne, Sammy J. He's been living rent-free in Carl's head for so long now that he's actually reached out and offered legal help because who knows Carl Sandilands' mind better than the person who lives inside it?
And he would make a great Prime Minister.
He would also make a great Prime Minister.
I have to double check he's born in Australia because people say, well, Julia Gillard, she was a Melbourne. No, she wasn't. She was Welsh born, grew up in South Australia, technically not from Melbourne. Just want to say that. I know
So
she
born
worked
in Wales, grew up in the murder capital of Australia. and then became Prime Minister.
Yeah, but in between had moved to Melbourne, but not enough of Melbourne. Yeah, no, I just want a Melbourne Prime Minister.
Sammy J for Prime Minister, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen. Sammy J for Prime Minister. Fantastic. Episode 15.
This week in comedy. We're getting pretty close to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, so we will still be broadcasting during that time.
It's going to be great. Well, thank you very much, Lily. And thank you, Lily. And thank you for being on.
I think so.
This week in comedy.
Don't you look incredibly rock and roll?
How would you cook that?
Be more entertaining. I'm glad you like that. It's a little bit of weed.